We're here with Eric Pinkston. Eric's from Oregon, and Eric won our Muley Crazy $20,000 grand prize giveaway. He won a guided hunt on the Paunsaugunt. He just showed up from Oregon a couple days early to scout. In Muley Crazy fashion, we wanted to give something that was more exciting than just most guided hunts that are given away or a 24-inch buck somewhere. We wanted to give something that you had the potential to kill a buck like what we've got here in our office. You know, big, giant, hopefully a massive deer. We are going to go start scouting here in the next day or two. We got 3 days to look before the season. We've already found some pretty nice bucks. So it was exciting to us that he is excited about this opportunity, and we're excited to do it. So let's go get after it, find some bucks.
Let's go do it.
The Muley Crazy team had scouted hard for the much anticipated hunt for Eric. Although we had found several nice bucks before season, we were determined to find our first grand prize winner, a granddaddy of a buck. Opening morning, we got a lucky break and saw a distant buck worthy of a second look. That evening found us perched high above the buck, hoping to spot him as he got up to feed. David spotted the buck feeding, and it only took 1 second to confirm. This buck was a shooter. Eric and I quickly started scrambling off the rugged ledges to close the distance on his once-in-a-lifetime buck. Eric and I made a textbook stalk to within 200 yards. The buck was just feeding and we nestled into the sand. Eric touched off the first shot. Get another shell in. Get another shell. That night we watched the footage and it confirmed a hit. We returned that next morning to follow up the shot, and never did I expect what would happen next. David Verosco and fellow Muley Crazy nut Jeff Albrecht had spotted the buck feeding only 300 yards from last night's encounter, and the hunt was still on. Right in there, right down below that, we are going to back clear around, go up the bottom of the wash, up past them ponderosas, get up on top of that thing, and we're going to try to get right there by that tree and pound that bad boy. Eric and I was able to once again make a perfect stalk to within 225 yards of the unsuspecting buck. This time, Eric centered the crosshairs and made sure he got his prize. Got him. You got him. You hit him hard.
That's what I hit him last night.
Yeah, higher up in there than we thought, wasn't it?
Fortune.
Turned him head on. Sweet.
Nice buck.
Oh, he's a great buck.
Heavy too.
Great mass. Better mass than I thought he had. I myself had a Paunsaugunt tag, and because a rifle tag, and I turned it back in just the night before the season, because of the fact that I knew how hard it was going to be to kill a deer of this size. I really did. I thought we was going to be lucky to kill one, so I turned my tag back in with 10 points, and the first thing I said when I walked down in the wash and seen this giant laying there was, I'm a fool for turning my tag back. Just a fool.
He's a good fool.
But it was important for us, and our subscribers mean more to us than anything. They're the lifeblood of our publication. We spotted this deer at a distance of 3.5 miles. Yesterday morning after hunting, we seen 7 bucks. We were glassing from a distant ridge, and I have no idea why I looked up against the white ledges here, and I could see a buck, and I told Eric, I got a buck. And when he walked behind a tree, I could see antlers. And I thought, man, if you could see antlers at 3.5 miles, we have got to take a closer look. And we did. We got above the white ledges, come out on top, glassing, and David Verosco spotted this buck at the distance of about 1,500 yards. And he was just feeding, looking at us right like that, and one look. Eric was glassing between us, one look, and I says, oh my heck, we got a shooter. We bailed off the ledges. Eric was questioning what the heck we're doing, and I told him, we don't bail off ledges for mediocre bucks.
The ledge is more like a big cliff.
We got to within 250 yards. Eric shot, and you can see his neck just ripple, low in the neck. And there's this hole that is a lot higher than we thought initially. We thought it was over. I would have thought we had never seen this buck again. We were going to come back this morning and check for blood and follow up the tracks, and David and Jeff spotted him again. I said, you'll never see this buck again. And big bucks only give you one opportunity. Spotted him within 300 yards of where we shot him last night. He had hooked around, and it was just incredible. I just couldn't believe it. You know, we walked up and they says, we got him right below us. We made an incredible stalk. We had to go about 1.5 miles around him, back, climbed down to another set of whites, back up on top of the whites, got a 200-yard shot, just like looking right behind us, right off the top, right down there, and you pounded him.
Yeah.
Hit him twice, the buck kept going, and now he's got 3 bullets in him. Ran off down in a draw, and Eric dumped him right in his tracks, and he's just incredible. Every buck, we say it a lot of times in DVDs, but if it wasn't for the team or the guys or the help, we would have never killed this buck, and it was true in this one as well. You know, it's so important to have guys that know what they're doing, and David spotted this thing at 1,500 yards, and Jeff, did you do something?
I spotted him this morning. He's the one that
Jeff
finds
spotted
him.
him this morning immediately. Within 10 minutes, Jeff goes, I got him. I got him. And I wouldn't even have been looking back up there. You know, we were looking down there where he was, you know, where he ran to last night. So it's incredible to have these extra set of eyes and ears and knowledge, you know, and we all talked about it and said, I think you got to do it right and come up from above, even though they talked us into hiking an extra 1.5 miles.
Yeah. They needed the exercise.
We are beat, but this neat old buck lived in this country forever. Hold his horns there. He, both of his feet have big curled up toes. He never broke them off. He walked in this sand his whole life. I'm sure he lived within a couple of 100 yards. You can see where he lived within a couple of 100 yards for the last 3 weeks. He went down to the bottom for water, and I'm sure that he never had a care in the world all summer. No one ever hunts this country. They do a little on the muzzleloader hunt, but not on this rifle hunt. But we call these sand toes or sand tracks, and oftentimes a buck will get that big old long toe, and eventually if he gets in the rocks, he'll break it off a little bit, but they just get really curly tracks, and that's a good sign of a resident buck that never leaves this country.
He's a good buck. Dandy.
He is a dandy. Eric keeps saying he's a good buck. He's going to understand about halfway back to Oregon, he's going to look back in the back of the truck and say, that's not a good buck, that's a great buck. Eric's great buck taped out at 34 inches wide and had a gross score of 201 inches. Thanks again to Eric for getting it done. We're here in the office of Muley Crazy Magazine, and I'm with Mark Barboa. Mark won our first ever shed hunt trip on the Arizona Strip by selling the most subscriptions to Muley Crazy Magazine, and I want to thank him for that. We went out and busted our butts on the Arizona Strip for 3 days and found some neat horns. The Arizona Strip in a nutshell is tough. Big country. I don't know.
It's just amazing country. It's you just can't, you don't believe it until you're actually there doing it.
Finding sheds, sometimes people go out the Arizona Strip and only find one or none, and we went in some neat places that I found some sheds before. Found a lot of 90-inch type of sheds, or not a lot, but several mid-180s types of sheds. Very few brown horns out there. You know, there's not a lot of bucks, and when they're brown, they're damn hard to find.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is one we found the second day that we looked for the other side, couple extra points and neat, but and one of the significant ones was an 11-point shed, half and half. Looked and looked and never found the other side, but show them your big pair.
This is what I'm all excited about. But
Mark found an incredible pair. They were laying 10 feet apart.
10 feet apart. Actually looking for another side off of
Alicia found a pretty good horn. My wife went with us, and she found a horn that had a short shank, but it was about a 93-incher. We were looking for the other side, and all of a sudden Mark hollers and says, "Hey Alicia, how much you gonna pay for the other side of your horn?"
finder's fee.
What's a finder's fee on that? Anyway, he came up, and the other side was laying right there. This great pair that Mark found has a 196-inch frame. We just set them on one of the pop-off mounts behind us, and I think with the G4 spreading out like they are, it's going to be about 32 inches wide. I think it's going to net Boone and Crockett, and it's just awesome. But I thought it would be a I thought we'd have a fun time. I didn't think we'd find this many horns. Found a bunch of neat old crusties, some that we did or didn't bring, but it was a great time, and I want to thank you for the awesome opportunity.
Well, I want to say thanks, and I want to thank everybody back home that helped, you know, and subscribe.
Yeah,
to
you
the
had a lot of
magazine.
you had a lot of people
Yeah,
pushing
so-
for you, and it was incredible.
Yeah, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mark.